Now we need to do one last adjustment on this. I've replaced keyways and variable speed pulley bushings and got all the noises and clunks out of it except for one, and that is clutch gear rattle, it's called. There's this procedure for adjusting this. I suggest you look it up. But this is what it sounds like. And the sound sounds like it's coming out of there. And if you can see the USA there, you'll see you're hearing the noise, but you're not seeing that move. That's how much plays in here. So to adjust that, we want to come over to here. Well, let me show you what's going on in there in case there might be people who hasn't seen in there yet. You have a gear that looks just like your elevation gear. And the only difference between your elevation gear and what's in there is the teeth are at an angle in your spindle. So the further this thing meshes together, the less play you have. If you can get it to fully meshed and you have 100% contact, there's no play. Of course, when you engage your back gear, this is out and allows that to spin, transfers from small to big, and slows it down. Okay, the procedure says to loosen this bolt and this bolt, the one I found. Well, evidently that's newer because mine's not like that. Mine, I have a set screw right here with Allen wrenches, and it actually moves the slotted piece. But it says to just allow the spring pressure to pull that up in there. So we'll just loosen this up and let it move up as far as it goes. We'll tighten it down. Now we'll check. It's still there. However, it's less, or there's less movement. Still same amount of noise, of course, but less movement. So now we have another option we can go with here. Put this in low gear. We'll loosen this up. And if you notice, this is a mirrored image. You have your neutral, and this is your high gear. It's offset. Now, I've milled a little bit off of this side, but it was the short side anyways. The original dimensions was 270 and 200, so you had 70 thousandths offset. I've given myself more because my clutch gears are just about the end of their life. This is the last thing I could do to them, and I got to buy new ones. And we don't want to buy new ones because one is 220 and the other is 230. So, all right, now let's try this. Now you'll notice it's not in that hole. That's another problem we'll fix here in a minute. But we can still check this and see if it's going. And it is going. Now you'll notice just a slight ticking. But it's different. It's a different tick. Here's the clutch rattle. Here's that tick. What that is I got just a little bit of play in my quill spline. The spline that comes off at the end of your quill. I noticed that when I had it apart. That must be normal because there's no adjusting it, so we can move on from that. Maybe someday if I ever change the spindle bearings, I'll go ahead and buy a new one of them. So we need to get this engaged in that hole, because if it's not engaged in that hole, whenever you're taking a milling cut, it could actually separate them splines. Remember how I said there's at an angle? Well, if they're at an angle, and if you start putting pressure on that, it's going to want to push it out. So we got to get that thing into that hole. So we can just simply move this housing. Now I've already loosened these bolts, and there's a procedure for tightening this housing down too. I suggest you read that. However, it is lackey. But what I found after playing with it is it says to tighten them and then turn the spindle on and then tighten them again. Basically is what it says. What I get with that is after playing with it, since this thing is so far out of balance, if I loosen this screw, come over here, loosen this screw, there's three of these, one in the back too. Now if I come back to this one's tight again. So I can keep doing that a few times, and then this crack here will open up. It does not want you adjusting that thing at an angle. So what I found to do is I loosen the back one first. And then I come over to this one and just loosen it until it's loose. It's still touching now, and the crack hasn't opened up. Same way with this one. So now we're at that point. Now we need to turn it on, and that's it. I go a step further. I slow this thing down. I put it in back gear. Make sure it's at 60 because I don't want it running that fast with all that stuff loose. Now when I turn this on, you're going to see this thing twitch a little bit. That would be itself, just the torque of the motor and the itself centering itself. All right, now I'm going to jog it real quick just to make sure nothing snags. There, you seen it twitch? So that should have allowed it to relax into place. And that looks good. My switch is still clear. I'm going to actually overshoot it. I'm going to do this again. Alright, now it's relaxed. I'm going to tighten these up. I'm going to do the front ones first. And there it's snug already. Now I'll give them a little extra tighten. Now I'll go back to the back. And we're done. I'll tighten them down off camera. Now it says, if that's basically incorrectly done, it gives you a little caution. You'll feel it in your fine quill feed handle. So you'll feel a variation, which I guess it means is a tightness and a looseness. So let's check that and see how we feel. Feels great to me. Let's check this. One finger movement, so we're good there. Feels good. All right, so that's that. All right, one more thing, two more things. The one thing is I want to make sure this thing's in neutral. And it is. Sorry, I was looking down. There's engaged. Neutral. So yeah, there's enough space there, so I'm happy with that. I gotta remember to tighten this down and do that off camera. Now you'll see a mark here I got on this. That's because I just realized that, actually I realized two things. One, I think that frickin' shaft might be bent. Somebody might have banged this on something at one time. It looks like to me when I turn this, the shaft's going off center. So that might be part of my problem there. The other thing is this pin up here has probably wobbled a hole out on this. Either that or the pin shot. If the pin shot, I'll just simply replace it. But as you can see, the reason I put that red mark on there is so to help you see how much play's in there. I need to get that play out. So what I need to do is I need probably to make sure it's up this direction and re-drill a new hole, put a new pin in it. I have to have it up this direction because when I go this way, I want to make sure I'm meshing my bull gear in. If I move this handle this way, I won't have as much engagement on it. And I noticed when I had it apart that they was just probably 70 or 80 thousandths from being flush when you engage this. So I reached here and grabbed this handle and I pulled it up and that was like perfect. So I need to get it to go up that way a little bit more, and that might be something to do with this shaft being bent. I think it's bent. I'll know when I pull it out of there. But I'll be straightening that up too. And that is about the extent of that. Oh, one more thing too. It didn't say nothing about this, but your belt housing here, your procedure for it, I did the same procedure for this housing, which is these bolts here. Because it's basically the same. The only difference is it can't rotate 360 plus degrees. So I simply loosened them the same way and turned it on, allowed everything to relax, and tightened them down. And same thing here. So now everything should be perfectly aligned. And, oh, one more thing I want to mention. I figured out what this red stuff was. I mentioned I think I mentioned another video, I didn't know why it was red. Well, now after reading the manual, it says, do not adjust your quill feed in speeds above 3,000 RPMs. And if you notice, guess what? Red starts at 3,000 RPMs. So anyways, that is the extent of that. And I hope this helps somebody adjust theirs. Thanks for watching.